Shane Warne's very good point was that when a player finishes his career, what do people remember about that player? Not the average or the numbers, but how they played the game and the iconic moments that they were involved in. So I would remember that hitting of the 6 at the Wankhede Stadium.
Straight over my head.
Went straight over your head. It's not difficult, mine.
Correct.
To win that World Cup in 2011, what a fabulous cricketer he was.
How do you remember him as the international cricketer? Because you'll almost certainly probably keep going, I would assume, with IPL, etc.
Great captain. Probably the best white ball captain there has ever been, and also just a cool, calm customer under pressure. Great finisher, although I know he'll still carry on playing Chennai Super Kings, but a great finisher of a game. The game wasn't won until you got Dhoni out. Until very recently, he paced the innings absolutely perfectly. So that's a good combination when you're a great captain, cool and calm under pressure. Everywhere he's been, whether it be Chennai or India, with the 20 over side in Johannesburg when they beat Pakistan in that final, which arguably brought on IPL and 2020 cricket, and at Mumbai, that iconic moment when he hit that 6 and they were carrying Sachin around the ground after that. He was involved in some of the great moments of Indian cricket, and a phenomenally calm, cool customer, and did it his own way, really. Even with keeping, he was a pretty good gloveman, very fast hand standing up to the stumps. Very, very fine cricketer.
That win that Nasser refers to in the World T20 changed world game.
Yeah, it did, because the IPL came quickly on the back of that. And I suppose he'd be the first generation of Indian cricketer that would be thought of more perhaps for his one-day stuff than his test match stuff. He played 90 test matches, but when you think of Dhoni, you think of those great one-day moments, the 2007 T20, the 2011 50-over World Cup. And that reflected the change that came both in the world game and in the Indian game as well, where T20 in particular became such a fundamental part of the game there through the Indian Premier League. And his generation and the timing of his career encapsulated that change absolutely perfect.
We talk of the pressures on Azhar Ali, the Pakistan captain, and the wild support back home. The pressure on the Indian captaincy out there, and the pressure and focus and spotlight that MS Dhoni would have lived under for a number of years.
I think that's what makes him special. I can't remember off the top of my head MS ever losing his rag in a press conference or on the field. You know, we also said yesterday in that captaincy thing, you are, responsible for the spirit of the game. MS often played the game the right way, MS Dhoni. So yeah, I think he got it absolutely spot on. And anyone, you've got to be very careful with Twitter, but anyone who's played with MS Dhoni will say that as a captain, they loved him because of that calmness. They always gave the bowler the belief that what field do you want? If you speak to Ashwin, Ravi Ashwin, or anyone, Jadeja, or anyone that he's involved with as a captain, very rarely did MS Dhoni tell him what to do. He would suggest things, but he would say to him, you're bowling, you know what you're doing. And when we saw him round the traps in and around the game, very, very pleasant, very calm, and you wouldn't know he'd have the weight of the world and Indian fans on his shoulders. Incredibly gifted. We saw him in Nagpur, didn't we, Ath? All those years ago, we turned up to Nagpur to watch a net session.
Do you remember the shot that we were talking about, that he became famous for, the helicopter shot? Yeah. We saw it in the net for the first time in Nagpur, and we looked at each other and thought, wow.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Strong wrists, and he did it in the nets, and that was right at the start of his career. I can't remember whether it was his first test match. It was certainly the first time we saw him. And, yeah, it was an eye-catching moment straight away.